very excited today to have Kaelie Gomez here of Main Street Marshfield. Kaelie, welcome. So we're very excited to hear you, to hear what you have to say today, and it's very exciting to see what is going on downtown with the plaza and the new businesses, and we're going to get to that. But first off, for the viewers that don't know you, tell us how you got here and tell us how you got your role and specifically what your role is.
Sure. So we actually moved here in 2016. My husband got a job at Prevention Genetics, wonderful company. And shortly after, I started volunteering with Main Street Marshfield and just really fell in love with the organization and its purpose. And I've always loved visiting old downtown. So to find that there was an organization that was there to support it was a real treat. And I got to know the current executive director at the time, Angie Elleranta, and we became friends. And then the position opened up, and I was very fortunate to be able to step into that role.
Wow. So it's very interesting because I'm hearing more and more of that. I was telling you earlier with Matt McLean of the CVB, and it was very similar how you guys got here. But you are not in a rock and roll band.
I was not.
Like he, okay, so
No.
see, that's different.
No.
So tell me what you do there at Main Street.
So my role is to be kind of the support, and they call it the conductor almost of the nonprofit. So we are a volunteer board run nonprofit. And so we have a board of about 13 members, and they're the big decision makers. They're the boots on the ground. They're the people that really get things done, along with our 4 committees that correspond with the 4 points that we focus on with Main Street. And that's economic vitality, promotion, design, and organization. So it's a ton of people that you probably don't see. I get to be the face, but really I'm just the conductor behind it. I make sure that, the administrative stuff gets done. I keep tabs on what our Wisconsin Main Street Network is doing and what the national network is doing, bring back the success stories, see how we can implement them here in Marshfield, work with our partnering organizations closely, which of course includes the city and you, and the CVB and Mackey, a lot of partners, and seriously could not do what we do for the small businesses without the small businesses themselves too. So
Sure.
Huge network.
And there's a lot of very creative, energetic people in those downtown small businesses, and they really add a lot. I think it's very interesting to me, and that there just seems like a lot of renewed energy in our Main Street and downtown area. This year we've had the wine walk was a big hit. That the car show was a huge hit, and a fair amount of new businesses opening, which is very exciting. What do you attribute that to?
I think it's a really beautiful time for Main Street organizations. And for those that aren't familiar, Main Street America is a network that spans across the entire nation. So Main Street organizations pop up in historic districts all across the country, and Wisconsin happens to have a very strong program. So we're really lucky to be a part of that direct network. Say the question again.
Sure. What do you attribute the growth to?
Sure. So right now, obviously, it's no surprise that a lot of big boxes are closing those stores, the age of the mall. It's reaching a new challenging era itself. So those involved in mall networks are having to get extremely creative. And we at downtown, historic downtowns, are benefiting from that. And a lot of the new generations that are coming in, some of those college students, some of those millennials, they just want that downtown experience. They want to be able to live, work, and play in the same place. They appreciate the historic character. They want to hop down, be able to walk to a restaurant, and then stay a while and shop a little bit more. So that's the new experience. The mall is now open air downtown, appreciating those small businesses. The local businesses matter message has permeated. I mean, you don't even have to say it anymore. It's just something that people know that they need to do.
It seems like in a lot of the coffee shops, the 2.5 Cups down there, and the restaurants down there, what you really see is people look for a place to belong. They want to go, like you said, they want to go down to, say, Uptown Coffee or Daily Grind, and they want to go in there, and there's just something about belonging. You can make your cup of coffee at home, but you really want maybe some different flavors or just to belong. Do you see that as being a big thing as far as that become that becoming prevalent downtown?
Absolutely. There's a book that recently was brought to my attention called Palaces for the People, and it talks about a lot of those third places, those places where people gather in the community, and how those places are special and they should be beautiful and they should be for everyone. And I think that our downtown does an incredible job. I mean, there's just so many people that have put in the work to make those places for good community to happen, and it naturally happens in little groups, like those coffee clutches that you see at Daily Grind. Those guys are wonderful. It's so much fun to see our Coffee with a Cup groups and Coffee with the Mirror groups, Coffee with Main Street, and then just the people that love that space, that they get a different experience from their kitchen. Talk about another fantastic space is our library. Don't want to not mention the public spaces like that in the plaza that are just gorgeous places to hang out, and so many resources too. But yes, they do. They want that experience. You talk about the Marshfield experience, and that's what people want.
You know, it's interesting you bring up the library, because it's not uncommon to go by there and the parking lot is full.
Yeah.
And as you go in and go through, you just see so many people captivated on different things. Some people are using the computer, some people are just there reading the books. And then that really is, I think, identifies a community, is those meeting places, which I think, and you're the expert on this, but I think this is why the Wenzel Family Plaza has been such a hit, because it's a gathering place. And what's interesting is there's so many different reasons to gather. I know that they've got the lunches there at 11 o'clock, I believe, on Thursdays and other days, and they're bringing in entertainment, and it's very interesting. One of the first weeks that it opened up, or maybe this was, I don't know, week 6 or 7 that it was up, I drove by there, Car and I we're driving by, and there's, up on the band, there's a polka band. And a lot of seniors that are right next door were out there. They had their walkers, they're sitting in chairs and, just tapping away. And then you go a little ways, and then you had some people out there doing yoga, and then other people in the water feature. And it's like, this is it's a community space.
Yes.
And I believe that is giving some great identity to a lot of people, which is why I think it's resurging.
Love it.
Does that key into you and your Main Street board? Has that been kind of the focus, or is that all of that really just been generic and just took on a life of its own?
Oh, it's so both, and I know Nikki Reiner, our plaza coordinator, has done a fantastic job just filling the space and lots of activity, but you do see the organic stuff popping up throughout the week. We have our office right off the back alley of the plaza, and you see, and there's kids that are coming in naturally, there's adults coming in naturally. They'll bring their lunch as a part of just a little work break. Some people will wander over from like the Mission Nutrition right off the back, or Daily Grind, and then of course the events definitely bring in people. But I think something you touched on that's so beautiful is it's a very accessible place. People can park and be right on the sidewalk right there, or if they have the capability of parking a little bit further away, they can walk a little bit further. And then there's neighborhoods, of course, right against downtown that people can walk from too. But you talk about the elderly, and you talk about babies and toddlers and families, and that's perfect example of what we want to see downtown as a whole come to. We want it to be that accessible for every sort of demographic. We want people to be able to be downtown if they are bikers, if they're walkers, if they're car transporters, and we just want it to be a really beautiful place for everyone to thrive.
What I've noticed and what I've been very pleased with, Car and I went out on Labor Day, and Uptown Coffee was open, and we went there. It was about 8 o'clock, and I believe that there's a lot of people on Sundays and on holidays, and certainly when it comes to deer hunting, just want to go somewhere and have a coffee. And I was very intrigued to see how full it was, because historically on Saturdays, or on Sundays anyway, not a lot of downtown businesses are opening, and I'm wondering if you think that stores or facilities like that uptown there's obviously more foot traffic. Do you think that will bring maybe some of those other businesses that rely on foot traffic
I think it will.
that you think that'll help them out?
I do. I think it will. I think it helps too, just getting the word out. You talk about the wine walk, and I always hear of someone saying, "Oh, I didn't know that we had this right here in Marshfield." They discover a new retail shop right in their own city, which is interesting. I was out walking. I had some guests in town, and I brought them downtown shopping. And I was walking in a retail store, and I noticed there was a woman that was kind of matching our pace, and I asked her, "Hey, are you local? Are you visiting?" And she said, "Oh, I'm from the cities. I come up here, and I never go up north without stopping at Marshfield because you guys have the most unique stores." And I think that's fascinating and very telling that we have a lot of beautiful things happening in our retail stores that people may not even know about. But there's that tension too, because if a business is going to commit to staying open, those more irregular hours, which would go into the evenings or go into the weekends. I mean, if they have families, that's a huge sacrifice for them. And if that's something that they've been living by for years, that 9 to 5 themselves, that'd be really hard sacrifice, and they would have to build up that clientele that would shop and make that worth it for them. So as much as you see, oh, it'd be so wonderful to have these stores open at night and on the weekends, and I do want that, and I believe that that's what downtown is made for, and I think we are going to see more of a move toward that, remembering that our small businesses are people with families as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it does have to pencil out for them. I mean, I think, when a lot of times when people say, well, that store closed or whatever, it's like, well, there's a reason that a store closes, and I think that's where we in the community need to support our local businesses. Another thing that I think is very interesting is the diversity of the different stores. It's a lot of fun. I mean, if you're ever having a low day, if you just walk in the door of Mission Nutrition, there's so much energy. I mean, they could turn the lights on for the whole city.
So true.
And it's something different. Marshfield has never had anything really like that, and I think their placement is brilliant because it's right across the street from the plaza, and the hours that they're open. So can I ask you that, is Main Street kind of looking for those different businesses and then maybe helping them with, okay, this is the type of your business that you would have, this is where your best site would be?
Oh, wow. I would say obviously Central Avenue and right off the plaza are very hot ticket items right now. I talk to property owners, and they do get requests for those first and foremost. Otherwise, the ones that are ready to suit, the ones that are up to code and kind of ready to work with a business, those spaces tend to go a little bit further. If there's a property owner that's saying, yes, I will invest if you will invest and make the space your own, those are the spaces that go. And we have a wide variety of property owners, and they are usually willing to work with new businesses. But I don't think within the bid district, which is the downtown district, I don't think that there's a bad spot, especially with all the additions that we're getting, because they're placed in so many different areas. I mean, you think about Escape Room down on one end, and then Mission Nutrition you mentioned kind of on the other, and then we have these great kind of end pieces with places like St. Vincent de Paul's and the Brew Pub and Holiday Inn on the other side with Nuts Deep. There's just something happening in those areas, and it's always a great place to be. Downtown is definitely in and of itself a great place to invest right now.
So I'm sure with everything that you're telling me that you do, there are a lot of people needed to do this. So tell me about those people and say volunteers, for instance.
Absolutely. We can always use volunteers. We're volunteer run. We do have to run events to kind of support our budget for the downtown. So if you're interested in events, if you're interested in promotion, if you love historic preservation and you just want to see the good of your city as the economic development changes, do contact us. info@mainstreetmarshfield.com is a great way to reach us. Otherwise, you can call our office. If you have a passion, we can probably find a fit for you. Even if you like to kind of be behind the scenes, we can always use people.
It's great that you need volunteers, because I know so many people have said, how do I get involved in different areas? So being able to go to this website and that phone number, I think is going to be very helpful. Well, and one final thing before we go, I think that one of the things that you all have done over the last couple of years is the Honor Walk. And it's a great experience. I mean, first of all, it's great for the people to be able to honor their parents or grandparents or whatever, but also it's a very fun walk just to go up and down Central. how long has that been going on officially? And tell me a little bit about that program.
It's about 2 or 3 years, and the Honor Walk itself is run by a volunteer committee that's kind of based out of the American Legion Post, and then they work with Main Street to make sure that the flags are up, and with the schedule, it'll all work out just fine. But it's just a great tribute to our local veterans and families of local veterans, where you can see the past heroes, the present heroes. You can see their faces. You can walk and see who's been where. And the crazy thing about the Honor Walk is we are like 3 years booked up, totally full. And
Is that right?
It is wild. So I mean, if you would like to purchase a flag, please do contact the American Legion, but know that you're going to have a little bit of a wait to get your family member up on a light post.
Wow. Well, this is a lot of great information, and on behalf of the city, you're doing a great job there at Main Street. We're very, very excited for what you do and what you bring to the city. For more information, if you would like to see what Kaelie does and Main Street Marshfield, what they do, please go to the website listed below. You can email them. You can get a hold of them anytime. We have a very exciting time down on Main Street on Central Avenue, and we hope you will come down and experience this part of Marshfield. Thank you for watching.